The topic for tonight is consciousness. I am going to break it up into a 4-part series because there is a lot to talk about. So conscious. The first thing I think of when I hear the concept of consciousness is the question, what is consciousness? Many philosophers, theologians, psychologists, and neurobiologists still do not have a concrete definition of the term. So let's start with the dictionary definition of consciousness. It is defined as the ability to perceive the relationship between oneself and one's environment. To make this definition simpler, it is the capacity to spot patterns in situations that are occurring, both inside of oneself and in the environment in which one lives and works. So, in other words, the capacity to comprehend information and events as they happen. Now ancient Greeks viewed consciousness as either quote, "If you do not find within yourself that which you seek, neither will you find it outside. If you ignore the wonders of your own house, how do you expect to see other wonders? In you is hidden the treasure of treasures. Know thyself, and you will know the universe and the gods." Consciousness is a highly debated and complex topic in both philosophy and science. The way I interpret consciousness through my spiritual experience living in this physical body is that consciousness is the state of being aware of one's own existence and surroundings. It is the ability to perceive, think, and feel. But the question still remains, how does it arise in the brain? Scientists and philosophers have been trying to understand the nature of consciousness for centuries. Some believe that consciousness arises from complex computations in the brain, while others argue that it is a fundamental aspect of the universe, like space and time. One theory is that consciousness emerges from the interactions between different regions of the brain, such as the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in decision-making and planning, and the thalamus, which relays sensory information to the cerebral cortex. This theory suggests that consciousness emerges as the brain integrates information from different sources. However, the exact mechanism by which consciousness arises in the brain is still not fully understood. Regardless of its origins, consciousness is a fundamental aspect of our existence, and its study continues to be a very important area of research in both science and philosophy. Although there is not a precise definition of what it is, we do know that it exists, because every experience that a sentient being has a knowing component called the sense of being. It is the intellect that exists outside of a person's anatomical, physiological, and psychological makeup. I look at it as the eye of the universe. When you enter a realm of higher intelligence, your degree of consciousness rises. So I broke up consciousness into 4 degrees. Most beings are at 1 degree in the world, which is indoctrination. We were all indoctrinated in one way or another. The human brain is a piece of hardware, and the environment you are in constitutes the programming team, which creates the values and perspective. Just as every word you know has been taught to you in one way or another, the concepts and beliefs you have is the result of the same influence. When you are at the conscious level of 1 degree, you are living under limiting beliefs that were taught to you as a child. These were the superimposed values that were instilled in you without consciously knowing. A clear indication of this is self-doubt, not believing in yourself because the outer world has said that you can't do it, and you believed it. But these are not your thoughts. Those thoughts were put in you. You weren't born doubting yourself. You weren't born discouraged. You weren't born with negative thinking. Those are thoughts that were given to you and became embedded in your subconscious mind. Those were the beliefs that your mind accepted, and the way the mind works, it stays with what was given. It is constantly trying to reinforce those thoughts that have been superimposed on you because that is what the brain is familiar with. Your upbringing has a significant impact on your self-esteem. The experiences and interactions you have during childhood and adolescence can shape the way you think and feel about yourself. If one had positive experiences during childhood, such as receiving love and support from caregivers, that can lead to healthy self-esteem. When caregivers provide a supportive, nurturing environment, children learn to trust themselves and develop a sense of self-worth. In addition, when caregivers provide children with appropriate levels of autonomy and encourage them to explore their interests rather than their caregivers' interests, children learn to value themselves and develop self-confidence. On the other hand, negative experiences during childhood, such as experiencing abuse, neglect, or criticism from caregivers, can lead to low self-esteem. When children are exposed to abusive or neglectful environments, they may come to believe that they are not worthy of love or respect. In addition, when children are frequently criticized or receive negative feedback, they begin to doubt their abilities and value as individuals. It's also worth saying that self-esteem can be influenced by external factors such as cultural, economic, and social factors. For example, children who grow up in poverty may develop low self-esteem due to the challenges they face and the lack of opportunities available to them. However, it's important to note that self-esteem can change over time, and it's not static. This is when the reprogramming of the mind comes in. It can be improved with mediation, personal development, and therapy. One thing that is crucial to understand is that beliefs aren't necessarily accurate and are not permanent. This is why you can always change your beliefs. But you have to conquer your mind to change it. For many, it isn't easy because it challenges your self-identity and can scare many people. This is why one of the biggest crutches is breaking over your own indoctrination. Now you may lose some friends and relatives during the process because you no longer align with their way of thinking. But the best healthcare is self-care. This is when you reach a higher level of consciousness. You begin to gain a better understanding that everything starts within you. When you are at the 1-degree conscious level, there is a high level of fear. Now there are two types of fear: irrational and rational fear. The brain's primary job is to keep all of your other organs working. In other words, its job is to keep you alive and safe. This structure of the brain is called amygdala. Now rational fears are good for you. If you are close to a fire, you'll step away, or if you see a giant bear running to you, your brain will go into fight or flight mode. So this type of fear is good. It protects you from dangerous situations. However, the fear that I am talking about is irrational fear. You are afraid to take risks because you don't trust yourself enough to leap to the other side to see what is there. This is a low vibrational frequency, which results in negative thoughts. Studies have shown that 70% of the average person's thoughts are negative. The average person has 60,000 thoughts per day. So that means 42,000 of them are negative. Research has shown that when your fears, negative feelings, and emotions are stimulated, they shut down your left prefrontal cortex's optimism and decision-making circuits. Fear causes you to procrastinate unknowingly. It becomes a habit. Irrational fears mostly derive from our past experiences. Moments when you were embarrassed. Moments when you failed. Moments when you felt discouraged. This is all subconsciously embedded in you. But we can use fear to build our confidence and strengthen our emotional neuromuscles. It becomes easier to overcome those superimposed fears. The key is to recognize these irrational fears immediately. Catch it right away and assess it. And ask yourself, is my anxiety trying to show me something important? This is when you start breaking away from 1 degree and getting ready to reach the second level of consciousness, the 2 degrees. So I am going to leave like that. Stay tuned for part 2. I want to thank my listeners and viewers for always tuning in. If you like the show, make sure to subscribe and visit johntovar.com/shop. That is where you can find John Tovar's merchandise. It helps us create a bigger platform. We deeply appreciate you. Until next time. John Tovar 80.6. Peace out.